Afternoon, students. Today I will be teaching about on the topic nursing management of occupational health disorders. This topic is for BSc third year. So, as a nurse, okay, we have to maintain a nursing diagnosis, a nursing care plan. So, these are the following diagnoses. Number one is ineffective breathing pattern related to swelling and spasm of the bronchial tubes in response to inhaled irritants, infection, drugs, allergies, or infection as evidenced by cough, dyspnea, and nasal flaring. So, one of the main signs and symptoms of occupational health diseases is that patients are having dyspnea or they're having difficulty in breathing, okay, or they're having excessive coughing and nasal flaring. So this nursing diagnosis is applicable for such signs and symptoms, okay. And second nursing diagnosis is ineffective airway clearance related to bronchospasm or increased pulmonary secretions as evidenced by abnormal ABG levels, arterial blood gases levels, adventitious lung sounds like wheezing or rhonchi, and there can be chest tightness or chest congestion. So, this some patients also will have bronchospasm, okay, where there's too much of secretions, okay, and because of the secretions, there can be constrictions in the bronchioles. So because of that, some patients may have breathing sounds like wheezing, okay, or rhonchi, and some they will have chest tightness or chest congestion because of the excessive secretion. So after performing ABG test or ABG analysis, there is some evidence that there is abnormal ABG. Okay, there can be respiratory acidosis or respiratory alkalosis. So this nursing diagnosis is applicable for such signs and symptoms. Third is imbalanced nutrition, less than body requirements related to anorexia associated with bacterial toxins. So in such conditions also, when there's chest tightness and difficulty in breathing, so patients are having lack of appetite. Okay, not, they do not have appetite to take the or to consume the food. Okay, so what happens is that they're not able to take food, so their body weight will decrease. Okay, so that's why imbalanced nutrition, less than body requirements related to anorexia associated with bacterial toxins. This nursing diagnosis is applicable for the signs and symptoms. Next is risk for injury related to types of occupation being followed. Okay, so there are many occupations, okay, that there is a risk for any injury. Okay, it's like people working in factories or people working in industries or people working in roadside or construction sites. So they are at a risk of having injuries. Okay, they can be injuries to the legs or hands, or because of the in industries or in factories especially, where like cotton industries, okay, they after while the cotton is being processed, so there are some uh, there are some chemicals, okay, or there are some fibers which are coming out. So if those people or workers present there, they are breathing those gases, then there can be risk for injury in the lung. So there is risk for injury related to types of occupation being followed. This is also a very important nursing diagnosis. Then number 5, risk for any infection related to exposure to any infected agent. So infections also can be chances, okay. And last is knowledge deficit related to disease condition as evidenced by frequent questions. So people will be very anxious and curious about the signs and symptoms that they're having and the disease condition. So knowledge deficit is very important nursing diagnosis. So these are some of the very important nursing diagnoses for occupational health disorders. So let us see their intervention. So first is the ineffective breathing pattern related to swelling irritants, infection, drugs, allergies or infection as evidenced by cough, dyspnea and nasal flaring and spasm of the bronchial tubes in response to inhaled gases. So what is the intervention is, first we have to assess the client's vital signs, okay, when they are in distress. Then we have to assess the respiratory rate, the depth and the respiratory rhythm. Next you have to assess the breath sounds, okay, are they having any wheezing or bronchi. Then you have to monitor the oxygen saturation, okay, by using the pulse oximeter. Next, monitor the ABG gases, okay, then provide oxygen to the patient because they are having difficulty in breathing. Then provide antitussive agents like syrup, Brilintis or Honitus. This is antitussive agents are provided so that their cough will be reduced. Then we can provide antibiotics to reduce the infection and provide nebulization with bronchodilators. Bronchodilators are given to dilate the bronchioles because of excessive secretions or because of the spasm in the bronchial tube constriction. So we are trying to dilate them. So we are giving bronchodilators agents like aspirin, salbutamol and levalbuterol. These drugs can be given by nebulization technique. Next is the ineffective airway clearance related to bronchospasm or increased pulmonary secretions as evidenced by abnormal ABG or adventitious lung sounds like wheezes, bronchi and chest congestion or chest tightness. So in this condition, what do? The interventions are, we have to assess the vital signs. Okay, we have to assess the amount, the color, the odor, and the viscosity of the secretion. Okay, whatever secretions they have, whatever the pulmonary secretions they are releasing out, we have to check the amount. Okay, how much? You have to check the color of the secretion, whether it is yellow or whether it is greenish in color. You have to check the smell or the odor, and you have to check the viscosity, whether it is thin or whether it is very thick. Okay, whether the secretions are very thick, so we have to check all that. Then we assess the color changes in the buccal mucosa, in the oral cavity, the lips and the nail bed. So we have to check the color. Okay, if you have to check for any cyanosis. Next, monitor oxygen saturation. Okay, by using pulse oximeter. Then you have to monitor the ABG analysis, provide oxygen to the patient, encourage the increased fluid intake up to 3000 ml per day. Then we have to give, because they are having difficulty in breathing, so we give Fowler's position or semi-Fowler's position. Then provide nebulization with bronchodilators such as aspirin, salbutamol and levalbuterol. Okay, bronchodilators, what do? They dilate the bronchioles because there is spasm. Okay, bronchospasm is present, and because of that, patients are having chest tightness. So we can give nebulization, and also we can give some steam inhalation that will provide relief and comfort to the patient. Next is the imbalanced nutrition, less than body requirements related to anorexia associated with bacterial toxins. Okay, so first we maintain the adequate nutrition to offset the hypermetabolic state secondary to infection. So we have to maintain a proper nutrition to the patient. Okay, we have to ask the dietary department or the dietitian to provide a high caloric diet or a high protein diet consisting of soft, easy to eat food. Okay, so we try to give soft food, not hard food. Okay, or not hard solid foods, but we'll give soft foods so that the patient will swallow easily, and we will give a high caloric diet and high protein diet. Then consider the limit use of milk products. Provide small frequent meals including dry foods like toast or crackers, biscuits or foods that are appealing to the patient. So we will we will give in small amount, okay, and we will give many times. Okay, so small amount many times in a day, okay, that is small frequent meals, and we can give toast, we can give biscuits, okay, or whatever foods that the patient likes. Next, evaluate the general nutrition state by obtaining the weight of the patient. So we have to check the weight of the patient also. Encourage the patient to consume fresh fruits and vegetables, and encourage to drink lots of fluids. Okay, fluids can be like fresh fruit juices or water. Okay. Next, nursing diagnosis is risk for injury related to types of occupation being followed. So To prevent such risk, there are some preventive measures. Okay, so the interventions are we have to tell them to wear proper protective equipment, such as face masks or respirators if needed when around the airborne irritants and dust. So, like cotton factories or jute factories or textile factories, okay, in such factories, like there are so many irritants and dust, okay, which are airborne transmission. Therefore, the workers there, they should wear masks, they should wear respirators to prevent themselves from getting any um, pulmonary lung disease. Next, wear helmets, goggles, and lead aprons. So, lead aprons are mostly worn in, when they are dealing with X-rays or any radiation. Okay, so we have to wear lead aprons so that the X-rays or the radiation rays, they will not enter into the body. Then wear gloves, avoid smoking, avoid consuming alcohol, and understand the risk of lung diseases at work and use the protection to reduce the risk. So these are some of the protective measures or the preventive measures that we have to explain to the patient to prevent the risk of injury. Next, risk for any infection related to exposure to any infected agent. The nursing interventions are: first, wear personal protective equipment at work, wear gloves when dealing with chemicals, wear masks or respirators, follow hand hygiene measures. Okay, the hand hygiene, the 10 steps of hand washing should be explained to the patient. If infection is present, then provide antibiotic medication, maintain personal hygiene, avoid any exposure to gases and chemicals. All patients should be screened for latent or active tuberculosis infection and should be evaluated for tuberculosis risk factors like HIV infection. So, screening tests should be performed for such workers working in factories or industries or any occupation. Next is knowledge deficient related to disease condition as evidenced by frequent questioning. So the workers there are very anxious. Okay, when they have symptoms of occupational health diseases, okay, like difficulty in breathing or nausea, vomiting, okay, or they have wheezing, right, rhonchi, breath sounds. So they will be anxious. Okay, so they will be asking, they will be asking very many questions from the healthcare providers. So as a nurse, we have to educate them. We have to educate about the various occupational health disease conditions. Number two, educate about the positive outcome of the treatment regimen, whatever the treatment they are giving. So we have to explain what is the positive effects or what is the positive outcome from that treatment. Explain or educate about the preventive measures. Educate about the personal hygiene and hand hygiene measures. Explain about the medication dosage, how much dose you have to give to the patient, what time should we give to the patient, and how many times a day, what is the action, and for how long do they have to take the medicine, maybe weeks or months. Then encourage the patient to verbalize their fears and concern. So we have to encourage the patient to speak up or express their fears and concern. And as a nurse, we have to answer the questions factually. Encourage abstaining or encourage avoiding from smoking and explain about the side effects of smoking. So these are some of the nursing interventions for knowledge deficit related disease condition as evidenced by frequent questions. Okay, so these are the nursing diagnosis and their nursing intervention. Okay, so I hope you've understood by the topic for today. Okay, so thank you, class.